I wanted to talk about business as it is in our world today with so many corporations. As a businessman and having been involved in a number of different types of business over the span of my life and in my during my years in this profession, I've noticed a number of things with regards to how corporations go about doing business. When I first went into business many years ago, uh, we didn't use the terminology that's used today. Terminology such as transactional, um, uh, analytics. Let's see, what's another one? Um, Logistical factors, and there's EBITDA, and there's all kinds of terminology today, which comes from a group of, here's another word, metrics that is used. When I first began in business, everything was about relationships. And it was about maintaining a customer base because of loyalty, not only from the customer the to the retailer or perhaps to the wholesaler, but loyalty from the business to the customer. Now, that is not to say that in today's world that both parties are looking for loyalty, but the actions and the requests are so different. Let me give you an example. What determines a decision for a company today to service a potential client or a current client? Now, we would think it's because they want your goods or your services, but that's not always true. Is it profitable? Does it make sense? Is this the business that we are after? Does it fit within a sphere of what we're after? Do the metrics add up to make it a good piece of business? Now, whereas that makes perfect sense from a financial standpoint, many times a piece of business that you are dealing with might not be extremely profitable, or it could actually be something that is that's not profitable. But in the future, it could be very profitable for you. Secondly, when you are looking for market share, sometimes your market share is not always profitable. An example of this is how grocers have worked for many years. They have what has been known as a racetrack built into their stores, and that racetrack runs around the edges, and that is where those items that are least expensive are set, and particularly all the way to the back is where the things that people need the very most, milk and bread and things like that. But also on the other walls, there are things there that are, it might not be the least expensive, but they're things that are desirable, such as fruits and vegetables, bakery items. And in some stores today, they might even have like restaurants that are out to the side. So kind of like destination, things that you really want. And so that racetrack pulls you through the store. And in those locations, they might sell for less than what would be profitable. But they do that to bring you into the store and to surround the goods where they're going to make more money. Well, so many companies today, everything has to be profitable. There is no room for something that is not profitable. And so those things are done away with. Our business world is becoming so transactional in virtually every aspect. even with personnel. The most valuable thing any company has are their employees, the knowledge and the skill level that employees have. But I'm going to flip this, because sometimes we think, yeah, in companies they don't they don't value employees. Well, there's a reason why. And one of the reasons that companies don't value employees as much as they used to is because employees don't stay with companies for long periods of time. I don't know this is absolute fact, but I believe right now the tenure of an employee, a younger employee with a company, is somewhere between 3 to 5 years. Well, my generation and the generation prior, it was probably 20 to 30 years. And further back than there, maybe it was 40 years that people were with the same company. There's a lot of loyalty there. There's not much loyalty from the employee to a corporation. And thus, the corporations do not offer the loyalty to the employees. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this. We don't have the pension programs we had before, 401ks. Even when they're offered, they can be rolled over into another company. But there's a lot more upward mobility that people are looking for, and there's a lot more opportunities today than there's ever been before. And those are all positive things. But what we don't want is we don't want our life and our business life to be about transactions only. One of the great things about entrepreneurism is that most entrepreneurs, the reason they got into it is because although they do want to earn money, most of them got into it because it's something they absolutely love and they absolutely want to share it with someone else. It gets them excited. I think of Apple products, and when Steve Jobs would talk about his products, his products were never about the features, although the features were amazing. It was always about the experience of having one of his products. And that's how they went about creating. What's the experience we want our people to have? For those of you who are old enough to remember Disneyland as it used to be, Disney was all about the experience. I mean, they didn't call it an amusement park, it was the Magic Kingdom. And everything there was part of this wondrous experience that you couldn't wait to do it again. Not like other amusement parks where they had great rides and maybe better rides, and they had virtually everything you could possibly want. But it was just completely different because it was an experience. So what I want you to think about is relationships, business, what we pursue in life. Make sure that what you are pursuing and the relationships you have with other people, make sure that these aren't just transactional things. Let me give you one more example. I was speaking with some very successful people the other day, and they were talking about being around other people who perhaps are not bringing out your best. And the comment was made, I just don't need to be around those people. I need to move on. And I understand why you don't want to be around somebody who is not bringing out your best. But I always think in terms of, but if I'm around them, perhaps I can help them be their best. Because the reason that people typically are not bringing out your best is because they're lacking something someplace, and they're making up for it and trying to bring you down. So relationships are so critical in all parts of business and in our interactions one with another. These are things to think about, things I've been thinking quite a bit about lately as I've seen things take place, whether it's during the elections that have just taken place, or in business, or just in communications with other people. I just think our society is breaking down to everything is transactional. And I don't think that's the way our Heavenly Father wants it to be. He made it pretty clear when he said, love one another as I have loved you. There wasn't any dollar figures there. And it wasn't simply make sure it's worth it. I believe, as the comment was, the first and great commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and soul. And the second is like unto it, to love thy neighbor as thyself. And as he taught his disciples, love one another. Think about that. As you're in business, or in your conversations with your loved ones, your friends, or even those people that might not be the very best who you're around, it doesn't mean you can't be your best around them and try to lift them. Just think about that too.